During our most recent adventure to Walt Disney World, Dad and I tried both of the Void experiences, Ralph Breaks VR and Star Wars Secrets of the Empire. Today I'm going to give you my thoughts about the Void VR experiences at Disney Springs, talk about the cost and whether or not it should be a priority for you on a vacation to Walt Disney World. To give you a bit of context, Disney Springs was not always called Disney Springs. You probably remember it used to be called Downtown Disney. And in Downtown Disney there was a very large building known as Disney Quest. Disney Quest had 5 floors of video games, one of my brother's favorite spots to go at Walt Disney World, from the classic games like Miss Pac-Man and Donkey Kong to more extreme adventures like Invasion and Entering the Comics and even Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters. When Disney Quest closed in 2017, many of us were very sad and felt a void. Get it? Disney brings in a company to fill the void called The Void. It's pretty funny. And they specialize in a very specific kind of gaming, virtual and augmented reality. Now let's go over how the experience itself works and what it will feel like when you go to the Void experience. Now I'm not going to ruin any of the storyline of either of those experiences, but I am going to tell you how it works once you're standing inside. To experience either of the Void virtual reality experiences, you do want to have a reservation in advance. They have them at their website. I will link it in the description of this video. Once you have that reservation, you make your way to the Void experience. You go to the check-in desk, check in, and then they will send you to kind of a self-service kiosk where you will sign a waiver digitally and then make your way in line. If you're scheduled to wreck VR with Ralph, don't forget to grab one of these cards before you go inside. This is the character that you will look like when you go in there. There are a lot of different choices. Just grab the one that you like most, and then when your teammate looks around, they will see this character instead of your face. It's really cool. After you've checked in and signed the waiver, you stand in that initial line where you see that black curtain, and inside there you'll get a special briefing where they'll go over the mission, what's going to happen inside, whether it's Star Wars or Ralph Breaks VR. Either one, you'll get a special experience each time. After that initial briefing, an employee from the Void experience will walk you back to where the vests and the lockers are. You can lock up anything you want in these lockers with a code that you designate. There's also a shelf area where you can set down your backpack or other larger items. The Void employee who is there helping you out will help put on your vest. You'll snap it into place, pull it tight, and then you'll put on that helmet. You'll make sure it's nice and tight on top, pull down the visor, and make sure that you can see clearly. Inside that visor at first, you're going to see a little animation of pulling down the helmet. Once you get inside, that's when the real magic begins. Once you're all set up, you will be escorted to a very special open-air room. You'll pull down your visor, and it is so cool. Not only can you see your teammates in virtual reality and even see your own hands in front of you, you can communicate via basically a radio system that's in your helmet. It kind of has the headphones that are already there. You just speak normally and you're talking to each other. If you've never experienced any type of virtual reality before, it may be difficult to think about seeing a character like this and seeing them wave just normally with their hand and knowing that is your partner or someone that you're playing with, someone on your team who is with you. It is so cool. Once the game begins, it is extremely cool. You get to interact with things around you, whether it's a button or a lever, and even the sides of the walls are accurate in your visor. So maybe you walk up to a wall in a cafe or maybe a Star Destroyer, I'm not going to ruin the story, and you see the wall in virtual reality, and then you can reach out and touch the real wall in the real world. This next part can be tough to describe, but once you're in the game with the visor on, you'll be encouraged to move from place to place. And when I say move, I don't mean just pushing a button or a joystick. You are actually physically in the real world walking. And when you walk in the real world, the virtual reality walks with you. So you walk through a doorway in the real world, and in virtual reality, it takes you through that doorway as well. It is beyond cool. The best way to try and understand this if you've never experienced virtual reality before is to think of a mouse maze. You put a mouse in a maze, he can't see over the walls, and he's trying to find the cheese. Imagine the same thing, but for humans. A large walls around you, you can't see over them, you pull the visor down, and you walk around through this maze, more or less, and you go through virtual reality and you get to experience an entire adventure just walking around a maze. You don't know where you are physically, but in the virtual reality world, you can see where you're going. It is awesome. It can be a strange feeling at first, I do have to admit it. You put the visor on, and as humans, we want to know where we're going so we don't fall, we don't trip, we don't hit something, but eventually you learn to trust the program, and when the program says there is an open door there and you can walk through, you walk through, and you realize that the program is going to tell you where the open spaces are, and you don't have to worry about bumping into walls. The adventure is incredibly immersive. It takes that story to the next level, whether it's a rumbling on the floor, some special scents, or maybe a temperature change. I'm not going to go any further than that, but it is so cool. In each experience, you do end up with a weapon at some point, whether it's saving the internet or saving the galaxy, and I've got to tell you, the weapon is extremely accurate. You can bring it up to your face and you can actually see where you're shooting, and when you get hit, you do feel it. Not bad at all, but it's just something to note. You are going to feel this because the vest you're wearing is made with special sensors that can tell you when you've been hit. It truly is like nothing I have ever experienced before, and I really do hope that Disney expands on this technology in the future. Not everywhere, we don't want everything to be virtual around us and everyone just kind of looking through their phones to see everything around them, but some places, maybe a new Disney Quest with more of this technology, that would be amazing. Each virtual reality experience at the Void costs $34.75 per person, including tax. That means that for one experience for two people, it cost close to $70, and I had to pay that twice because we did Star Wars and Ralph Breaks VR. The big question, was it worth it to me? In my opinion, yes it is. It is an expensive experience, no doubt about it, but it's just one of those things that you really hang on to after the adventure. Dad and I are still talking about how cool it was and remembering special encounters inside that VR experience. We're thinking about it again and again. It's a special occasion thing. It's not for every single trip, but on this adventure, it was 100% worth it, and I would buy it again. Between the two experiences, I definitely do prefer Star Wars, and if you can only go to one of the experiences, Star Wars is definitely the one that I would choose. That being said, my dad preferred Ralph Breaks VR, so it depends on what you like. You gotta choose your favorites. To me, the Star Wars experience had much more of an objective, a mission that you wanted to accomplish. Ralph Breaks VR was more of just fun mini-games. It was still fun, but I liked the objective. A very common question that I got from friends after our adventure, is it something that I would recommend for you? I would say yes, most of the time. For many of us, it is a super cool interactive experience, but if you suffer from some motion sickness and maybe looking at screens for a long time can make you dizzy, by the way, you are not alone there. I know others who do feel the same way. You may want to bypass this experience, but if you still, maybe you're unsure, you're thinking you may enjoy it, I definitely would recommend giving it a try. Those are my thoughts. I would love to hear from you. Have you ever tried the Void VR experience at Disney Springs before? If you did, what did you think? Which one did you prefer between the two if you did get a chance to try them both? And now that I described it, if you've never been before, is it something that you would like to experience in the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. Until next time, have a magical day.